Hey, B3rd Men, Coach Field back for a new week, a new topic in our journey to becoming the B3rd Men that God is calling us to be. Last week, we talked about this complete surrender, and this is not going to be something that is fixed in last week. It's going to be a challenge that you're going to have to rise up and meet each and every day. And so as we start a new week, my big challenge to you is what's holding you back? What's preventing you from jumping all in and putting aside the world? Be willing to die to self so that you can live forever with Jesus. And what is it going to take for us to accomplish that? Well, it's going to take a level of accountability. And that's our topic for this week is Christian accountability. What does that look like? Why is it important in our life? And how can we practically accomplish this in the different stages of our journey to becoming third? So most of the time, this idea of accountability is not something that we enjoy. I don't know about you, but for most people, they kind of get trapped in their silo. And I think one of the problems with social media today is it allows us to actually be more private. I know that sounds weird, but we put all this stuff out there, we're posting on social media, and we kind of think that people know us, and the reality is they don't. We're giving them a fraction of our life, and we're only usually giving them the good parts. Occasionally we'll ask, hey, can you pray for me? I'm going through this struggle. But rarely, if ever, does anybody get on social media and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this sin in my life. Who's willing to hold me accountable? And I'm not saying that that is a practical way to live out Christian accountability. So let's dip into some scripture, and then I'm going to explain to you how this looked for me in my college years, the way it looks for me now. And then I'm going to also challenge you to get more involved with the B3rd Men platform so that we too can be a level of accountability in our lives. So scripture says this in the book of Galatians, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. It is our role to bear the burden of our neighbor. Sometimes that's more intimately than others. Like maybe my spouse and I, we bear each other's burdens more than just my coaching friends. I'm for sure responsible for bearing the burden with my children and making sure that they have a level of accountability. But here's what accountability is not. It's not just me simply telling my kids, you have to do this better, or me telling people that I'm coaching, you need to do this better. It's not our pastors in our lives instructing us how to grow. It's them walking alongside of us. Because that's where we get this authentic, real accountability is I'm not just willing to correct you when you get out of line. No, I want to get in the boat and I want to row the boat with you. That is what real accountability is. Hey, I'm not going anywhere. We're in this together. Especially if we're talking about the covenant of marriage. That is the role of husband and wife to each other, is we are called to intercede for each other in this journey to becoming third. So when I was in college, I had some really, really good friends, and we would meet probably once a week, if not every other week. And we would really share with each other. You know, it was probably 6 to 8 of us. And we shared, what are the sins that you're struggling with? And the reality is most people are struggling with the same stuff, especially as men. It mostly revolved around lust and temptations of the world, instant gratification. And so we would discuss these things. And then we would set practical goals or, what are we going to do practically to overcome these? And then we would kind of trade off like, okay, hey, this week, so-and-so is going to contact me once a day or once every other day. And they're going to hold me accountable to me saying, I'm going to read my Bible for 5 minutes every morning, or I'm going to spend 10 minutes in prayer. You're going to hold me accountable to that. And that was a great time in my life. I mean, I'm so thankful for those guys that and the way that they impacted me and helped me journey. And really, it was all kind of just by the grace of God that all happened. You know, we were eating one night and somebody, I don't remember who brought it up, was like, hey man, we should do something different with this group. And so maybe that's you right now. If you're a young college student, invite some people into your world. I mean, accountability really answers this question of who's coaching you. And at every stage in life, I think it's healthy if we coach somebody and somebody coaches us, you know, that bearing each other's burdens. Obviously, once I got married, the big key factor is, am I really opening up and giving all of myself to my wife? You know, that is emotionally, spiritually, physically. Does she really know where I'm being challenged and where I need to grow? And the answer for me is yes. I mean, she knows my deepest, darkest struggles, and sometimes we've had to do certain things to build layers of accountability to help me make sure I'm growing and avoiding temptations, staying away from the occasion of sin in the proper ways that I need to. And we don't want to always see that as a negative. You know, I'll just be open, candid, and honest. I didn't really struggle with pornography before I got married. I definitely got married in an age where cell phones weren't a big deal. The internet hadn't really hit its peak. And so we get married, we're having this great young marriage. And then as internet and access to pornography changes, the devil finds an opportunity to get at me. And I'm going to be honest, I failed. And after enough counseling with my priest, I remember him telling me, hey, you need to share this with your spouse. And it was hard. It was an emotional time. But because she truly loved me, she loved me through it. And I'll be honest, I've got covenant eyes on my phone, on my computers. We have it on every device that we have in our house, especially now that we have kids. And some people might look at that and they may go, man, you require that to live out your life. And it's not, I don't look at it like that. I say, I know myself. I'm not going to put myself into an occasion of sin. And especially now we've extended it. Like, I don't need it as much as I did in the beginning. I'll be honest. Through the grace of God, through the growth and virtue, a lot of that has gotten better for me. But now we keep those things on our devices because we want to protect our kids. And we also want to protect ourselves. Like, I don't need to see certain things that the world constantly wants to throw at me. And so a certain level of accountability is so healthy. Another great story to kind of close us out, if you're not familiar, is Josh Hamilton is a world famous Major League Baseball player, finished out his career, I believe, with the Texas Rangers, but drafted out of high school, the neighborhood kid, unbelievable family, gets involved with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, injured, and through hanging out at a tattoo parlor, long story short, he gets totally addicted to all kinds of drugs and alcohol. And he has this major fallout, loses a ton of money in the process. But through God's grace, he comes out of that. He stays married to his spouse, and he has this huge rebound in the Major League Baseball scene. But one of the cool things that the Texas Rangers did for him is they accepted the fact that he needed a little extra level of accountability that was different. And so they paid a companion to travel with him and stay in the room, take his per diem money, and make sure Josh Hamilton could live a healthy lifestyle. And just hearing him speak on it, if I can find a clip, I'll definitely post it in our thread this week. He speaks on it like, hey, I knew I needed that. I'm not ashamed of it. I know that if I have money and the temptation arises, I'm going to go to the bar. You know, I'm going to look to spend it in bad places. And so it's better for me to just have a Christian accountability partner to walk with me in every phase of my life. And I believe that's why Jesus sent us out 2 by 2. So this week, who's coaching you? Who are you coaching? Are you walking alongside of them? Are you inviting them to walk with you so that we can hold each other accountable to this journey to becoming third. It's going to be a great week as we dive into the scriptures, and we are going to learn that Jesus will hold us accountable to what we do and what we fail to do. God bless.